Is the new Ghostbusters ruining your childhood? Here's a quick test to see if the new Ghostbusters starring all women is ruining your childhood. Did Jurassic World ruin your childhood? Did Independence Day Resurgence ruin your childhood? Did Star Wars The Force Awakens ruin your childhood or make it better? The answer is probably not. Those movies probably didn't do anything to your childhood if you were a fan of the original Jurassic Park or the original Independence Day. Those movies are unchanged by these sequels, whether they were good or bad, or just generic. The new Ghostbusters is a lot like those movies, part of the big requel resurgence. Now, what's a requel? It's not really a sequel, it's not really a reboot, it's kind of a mashup of both. Obviously, the new Ghostbusters is more of a reboot than those movies were because they kind of take place in the same world, but you get the idea. If those movies didn't ruin your childhood, then Ghostbusters really can't. And the reasons are the same, because the original movies still exist. You can still go back and watch them. I can stream Ghostbusters, Jurassic Park, or Independence Day whenever I want. The only person you can really blame for ruining your childhood is probably George Lucas, because the original Star Wars movies don't exist anywhere. With each new revision he's put out with new CGI and new sound and all the little tweaks he's made, each remastered edition, they've done away with the old ones. I don't even know if you could find the original ones in any digital format if you wanted to, barring some spliced together version. And that's really the argument we keep hearing, isn't it? Like, somehow these new projects are going to destroy what once was really great and we really value. And in some ways, I kind of get it, because I was a big fan of Watchmen, the comic, before the movie came out. And the movie really disappointed me in a lot of ways. But the truth is, I can still revisit the comic, and that special feeling I got from the comic still exists and is still valid. The only other time you can really blame somebody for ruining your childhood or past media that you really like is if the creator turns out to be a real garbage person. Now, if we go back to that requel list I rattled off, the weakest elements of those movies were the parts that were exactly the same as the old movies. In a lot of ways, they were too much like the original movies. Everybody's scared of change because change is different, but the truth is we should delight in change. Change is a good thing. Change is a part of life and is part of what makes it dynamic. If you're one of those 15 to 30-year-old white men that Hollywood has been turning out movies for the past several decades, me, you should be amped that we're now getting opportunities to tell different types of stories with different protagonists. As movies become more inclusive and have different leading characters, whether it be the color of their skin, their gender, their sexuality, or their beliefs, it's an opportunity to put yourself in somebody else's shoes for once. We have a grand opportunity for new stories about different types of people. It's like getting to view the world through a different set of eyes. And I think that's actually the beauty of storytelling. Storytelling is made so that people can share ideas or thoughts that might not otherwise be easily translatable. In fact, I think a big part of this whole Ghostbusters debacle is the fault of Hollywood not giving its audience enough variety in storytelling. Culturally, it seems we're very deficient in empathy, and that's part of storytelling's job, to give us empathy for a fellow man and help us understand them better. A big part of cultures is the stories that they share. It's what makes them vibrant, what makes them unique. It's what makes us distinct as individuals. And American movies have been telling the same types of stories over and over again. And finally, even in our mainstream reboots, we're getting a chance to tell different kinds of stories. So if you're a movie fan, if you're a comic book fan, if you're a TV show fan, this is a great time to be alive, because we're getting exposed to so much and so many boundaries are being broken that we're going to see things in media and storytelling that haven't been a part of our culture in decades. In a lot of ways, it's like movies going from black and white to color. There's so much more opportunity for vibrancy and depth. If you're a pop culture fanatic like me, don't be bothered by female Ghostbusters, or that a black girl is taking on the role of Iron Man, or any of the other shakeups we've been arguing about. There's real heavy stuff going on in this world that we should be debating, and we shouldn't be bothered with that. Be appreciative that people are trying different things, and be hopeful that it works out. The original stories, whether they're a movie or comics or TV, aren't going anywhere, except for the original Star Wars. Those are gone forever. Thanks, George Lucas.